Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Guadalajara, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez, and his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's King, Tyler.
¿Cómo estamos, mi gente? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling. Check out our new digs, man. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I think everything looks amazing.
I know, right? We're moving up in the world, man. I'm
excited. I guess I'm gonna have to stop playing with my tagline and keep it as the talent from now on. But
yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, whatever.
I didn't know that was gonna be there, so
yeah. No, it's definitely a great surprise. Thank you so much to the producer, D. I mean, you've been amazing helping us get through this and stuff and teaching us along the way.
We couldn't do it without D. He's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. The best in the biz, man. The best in the biz. Hopefully Chris Van Fleet doesn't steal him or anything like that. That would kind of suck. Yeah.
Well, it'd be good for him.
Yeah, it would be good for him, honestly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, Tyler, there's a lot that happened in professional wrestling this week. What did you want to get started on? Did you want to jump right into Wrestletalk, or do you possibly just want to start at No Mercy since that was the first big wrestling event of the weekend?
Let's go for the through the weekend. It was a lot of really good wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly thought that No Mercy was a really great premium live event. I was really excited with the way Shawn Michaels has been running the whole down there. I definitely feel like he needs to steal that Booker of the Year from Tony Khan. I know Tony Khan really values that from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but Shawn Michaels has been doing exceptional things down there. I mean, the way he showcases his talent, he even has people believing in Baron Corbin. I mean, he has done, he's worked miracles down there. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, he's a guy who knows what works. He worked with creative a little bit when he was an actual wrestler. So I think Shawn's doing a great job. As I think I said to you the other night, I think NXT is the WWE show I look forward to the most every week lately.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for what we're watching. I'm very excited for the potential of what this means, especially since Nick Khan no longer wants this to be like the developmental brand. He wants it to be the third brand. And you could tell by the way they're showcasing it that is the intention, is to move it over to the third brand.
Right, as it was for a couple of years before we decided. I know Chris Jericho speculated that Vince was mad at NXT because they lost the ratings war. So he decided to make it developmental again and tear down everything that everyone loved about it.
Interesting.
Now that he's not involved, maybe we're getting back to, what we like.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely exciting. For me, No Mercy was a solid card. I definitely enjoyed Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin. That was a personal favorite for me.
It's fun brawl.
Yeah, it was absolutely. It clocked in about 9 minutes. I mean, it wasn't super amazing, but I thought it served its purpose. We had the schmaz finish. I agree with that, D there. Baron Corbin does seem like the new Undertaker. That was interesting gimmick. He rolled out with the gator on his face, and then he rolled out with the bike. Thought that was a pretty interesting direction. What did you think of Baron Corbin's new persona?
Yeah, I'm here for it. I think it's nice that they're giving him a little as Bruce Pritchard would call it, a fresh coat of paint, a fresh paint of coat. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I really dug it. The only thing I found kind of comical was that Braun Breaker's wolf headdress looked like a stuffed animal, and I was like, "Come on, man! That just looks so rough, man." But other than that, I was very excited with what we were watching. For me, the match of the night definitely was Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes. this match was brutal. It was violent. It was everything I wanted. What did you think?
Yeah, man, it was amazing. I think as far as match of the night goes, I think it's really tight between that and Becky and Tiffany. But
Yeah.
both were just. I think they should both get 5 stars, five cheeseburgers from me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I couldn't disagree with you there. They were definitely exceptional matches. I thought to myself when I was watching Ilya Dragunov, I really had a question that just kept popping up in my mind, which was, are we looking at the next best in the world? What do you think?
It's very possible he's of that ilk, and I've never seen a match of his that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. One thought that I had on Saturday night as they were wrapping up is, if WWE had an MVP award, would Becky Lynch be this year's MVP?
Yeah, let's segue right into the main event. So what she's been able to do, let's go back to her street fight against Zoe Stark, right? Everybody was questioning whether Becky had it anymore. Maybe she didn't have the wherewithal to keep doing this because she wanted to be a mother and a wife and all that. And then she has that street fight with Zoe Stark. Then she goes out and she has that amazing steel cage match with Trish Stratus, and they were able to re-show like everyone, like, this is what Trish could do. She's always risen to this occasion. She just didn't need to in the matches she wrestled before because she was just that specialty talent. But she's been able to do that.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she's a couple solid matches on Raw, and it's just kind of moved on to there. And she comes into NXT. She has her match with Lyra. She has her 2 matches with Tiffany, and she's on the hottest streak I think I've ever seen any female talent in professional wrestling before. I don't think I've ever seen anybody have this level of matches the way Becky Lynch has been having in terms of female talent alone.
Right. So for me, I go back as far as the cage match with Bayley after they got bumped from the 30th anniversary, and
Yes.
then they had the cage match to main event that show where Lita came back. I was lucky enough to be there, and I thought they had a really great match. And then when we came back to the apartment and watched it back, we still thought it was great. Then there was the match at night, obviously the WrestleMania match with against Damage Control.
Mm-hmm.
I love the match with Trish at Night of Champions. Then as you said, the matches you just discussed, I think she's probably the best performer in the company this year. It would be tight between her and her husband.
Absolutely.
That MVP award is going to that house.
Yeah, absolutely. They've definitely put on a spectacular performance, at least the 2 of them. But we're going to stick to Becky here because we're going to talk about Seth in a little bit when we kind of like run through our quick review of Raw. But yeah, Becky's been able to really showcase NXT, put them on the map. And I think because of how great she's been, that's why she was rewarded with the main event. I don't think it had to do with name value alone. I know a lot of people on the IWC have made that claim that, oh, Becky got the main event because she's the Raw star and all of these people were developmental. No, I think she earned that spot with her matches and the stories that she's been telling over the past month. Becky Lynch has definitely been at the tops of the top, and I would agree with you. When they do the PWI 50 that they always do for women, Becky has to be number 1. I can't imagine anybody would take that spot from her.
No, not this year, for sure, because like Charlotte hasn't been around and done as much. There's no one in AEW.
No, absolutely not.
Maybe Tony would be like a top 5, maybe.
Absolutely. What Tony's been able to do in such a short amount of time. Well, let's segue right into that since we talked about No Mercy. Let's jump right into Wrestle Dream because that was the next big premium or pay-per-view. That was actually a pay-per-view.
That was a pay-per-view.
So my immediate thoughts about Wrestle Dream was it was really long. I felt like it was really, really long. Like
4 hours. That's typical for them.
I suppose, but 0 Hour had 4 matches on it, and I thought to myself, "Holy crap! Why so many matches for the kickoff show?"
I didn't watch 0 Hour.
Yeah, well, it was.
They
fine.
didn't promote anything for it, did they?
No, not really. They kind of gave Josh Barnett the match against Claudio, but that was pretty much just because of his ties to Antonio Inoki, because that's what this whole show was. It was like a tribute show to Antonio Inoki. So,
right, but they hadn't really hyped anything up prior.
No. Yeah, I mean, Wrestle Dream itself was a pretty solid pay-per-view. I mean, and
That
yeah,
was
I mean,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, there are definitely some really great high points. There were some low points for me specifically. I one of the low points to me, which I don't understand what's happening, is it does it feel like ever since the Acclaimed won those trios titles that now they've just been relegated to 0 hour? Like, oh, let's just use them to get everybody hyped up for the pay-per-view, because this is the second pay-per-view in a row where the Acclaimed has closed 0 hour leading
They're
into the
0
pay-per-view.
hour on All Out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird to me. I would say, I mean, as far as being functional in that spot, they're great for it. They're a great fit, but I mean, I think they're better than that. So like they could easily open the show. I think maybe this particular show they weren't necessarily a fit for it. They don't have any ties to Japan and Inoki. So maybe
Yeah, agreed.
that could have something to do with it. And again, in that role, I think they're a great fit as someone to hype up the crowd, because the crowd always responds to those guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get started
I
right
love
away
them.
with they're great. I agree with you. Let's get started right away with the strange opening match. It clocked in about 9 minutes and 40 seconds, and it really showcased what MJF has been talking about. So MJF defended the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against the Righteous, and this match felt exactly what MJF told us in the scrum. It was all about showcasing his favorite version of professional wrestling. It was all about shaking the ropes. It was all about hulking up. It was all about kangaroo kicks. That's what he wants to give us. So I ask you, as a wrestling fan, as someone who actually is the person I got the circus moniker from, are you happy with the fact that the AEW World Champion is kind of going backwards in terms of this is the type of wrestling I want to show here today?
Yeah, I think there's a place for it. I think it's entertaining. Not everything has to be, like Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson was an amazing match, but not everything has to be that. As
Agreed.
we've discussed, there's a circus. So like MJF is the dancing bear.
Yeah,
Cool.
agreed. Yeah, when I look at MJF, I think about the fact that like I want more, and I just want his character to progress. I worry with some of the things that he does that he might not have longevity in terms of his character. So if he doesn't progress his character, I don't know if it'll have the type of longevity that like an Adam Cole Bebe, how like it went from the Indies to NXT back to AEW, and it seems to be a successful character. I don't know if he can play a douche for the next 10 years. I don't know if that's going to wear thin, because that's his thing right now. Like, I'm your douche, which is weird. It's just like, all right, like,
well,
are you
I mean,
just
we
here
all
to
have
clean out wrestling? I don't get it.
We have that friend that, everyone has that friend that they're kind of a douchebag, but there are a douchebag. They're not,
No, I agree with you, but don't you honestly believe that friend, specifically for us, don't you sometimes need a little break from that type of, toxicity? Like maybe just like, I'm just going to not pick up your phone call for like,
maybe, but then Max is not, on the show necessarily every week either. So,
well, actually, I'm so glad you brought that up, because during the media scrum, it was asked of him about him wrestling with the consistency that he's been working in, and he kind of skirted around the question. But do you remember what he said?
He said, something to the effect of, honestly, I don't like it or something, or I hate it or something like that. Honestly, this scrum was the most genuine and vulnerable I think I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Because he was really answering questions and being like, he was still, poking fun, but like being pretty kind to the media.
Yes. Agreed. They even called him a nice guy, and he found it hilarious that they called him a nice guy.
Really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely felt like this version of MJF is just, I guess this is just the babyface version. And I guess heel MJF is 2023's biggest asshole. And then babyface MJF is Hulk Hogan in the 80s. Like, I'm here to pop your kids, get you excited, work the crowd. We talked about this the other day. MJF might be the best in the world at working a live studio audience. It is clear that everything he does, from his ring gear to the way he plays with the crowd, to the way he points the microphone at them so that way they could cheer with him and chant with him. That is what he is meant to do. And I worry, or I wonder, do you feel like he's helping push the people he's in the ring with? Like, he's wrestling a lot of younger talent. Like, he wrestled Aussie Open. They didn't look too great coming out of that match with him, although they did move on to an AEW World Tag Team title match with FTR. But then now he's working the Righteous. Like, the only person that's kind of come out unscathed is Brian. Even Samoa Joe's kind of like not there now. Like, it was like, okay, what happened? What happens after you leave MJF's feud?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of times when you end up losing a feud for the world title, though, like you'll take a beat to regroup.
Mm-hmm.
So that in the case of Joe, I think that's probably partially what's going on there.
Yeah.
As far as the Righteous go, I think they were always kind of meant to be enhancement, like in this role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this
which is
particular time.
unfortunate because I kind of like their cult gimmick. I kind of like the
Right.
whole like Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy look that they have. I know a lot of people don't like when we like that, that type of stuff, but I know you and I are big true crime fans, so for
Right,
me, I
and-
appreciated it.
And possibly maybe, being in the ring with a guy like that is people are gonna watch the match and say, "Oh, okay, well, let's see more of them."
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
again, they are a Ring of Honor tag team, so mostly we're gonna see them on, Honor Club
Yes.
on Thursday. That's on
Yeah,
Thursdays,
yeah.
I believe.
Yep. So let's go right into the most predictable match of the evening, which was the singles match for the Ring of Honor World Championship and the Strong Openweight Championship. Once both titles were put on the line, you kind of knew Eddie Kingston wasn't dropping these straps, right?
Right, and the pure title was not up for grabs.
No, it was
Okay.
not. It was not title for title. So it was
Okay.
just Eddie Kingston. He defeated Shibata in 11 minutes. I thought this was a pretty hard-hitting match. It wasn't too much of substance. I didn't like some idiot on the IWC decided to come out and say that once you've seen one Eddie Kingston match, you've seen them all. I disagree. I don't think Eddie Kingston wrestles the same with anybody he works. It's always a different person. The only thing he does the same is what every other wrestler in the history of pro wrestling does. His finish, his setup, all of that stuff is exactly the way it's supposed to be. This is my setup. This is my finish. And I'm very excited about what I'm seeing. And I got to be honest with you, because I haven't seen Shibata work this style in a very long time, since before his brain injury. I was happy to see him work this strong style, man. I was very excited about this. He definitely stuck out to me in this match. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. As far as that comment, I mean, all of Eddie's matches are brawls. That's true.
Agreed.
But I rarely cease to be entertained, so I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go over to the most underrated match of the night that people just, for some reason, are just glossing over the fact that I felt like this was a star-making match, which was Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart. I thought the entire presentation of Julia Hart, going from her entrance to her suplex off the top and the camera zooming into her to see her kind of have that demonic look on her face, to her being able to pull off both of her finishers, to the whole black goo or mist or whatever you want to call it that she spits out. I thought this match was all about making Julia Hart, and I commend Chris Statlander for being the champion and also playing a massive role in helping get Julia Hart over. What did you think?
I thought this match was awesome, to be honest. And her entrance, as I said to you when she was coming out, that they're really pushing her.
Yeah.
She's been on almost every show lately.
Yeah, and I mean, she's kind of, and I know people don't like when we make comparisons to both companies, but I feel like she's kind of rolling on the Alexa Bliss like type of I don't know, like she's moving on the same train tracks, because Alexa Bliss started as a cheerleader, so did Julia Hart, and now Alexa Bliss was evil Alexa Bliss, like for the Wyatt family, and now Julia Hart is this evil version of Julia Hart for House of Black. And I'm not making comparisons to say one's better than the other, but I'm glad, because this is actually really working for Julia Hart.
Yeah, it really is. The only difference is we don't hear her talk much. Whereas Alexa, that's a real strength of hers. But I mean, she's doing a good job in the ring. She's absolutely gorgeous. Her presentation is great. Yeah, I think they're making a star there.
Yeah,
That's
no
one thing
question,
they're
no
doing
question.
good. That's one thing they're doing well in the women's division, and there's only a couple. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. The sky's the limit with her and Tony Storm. The
yeah,
sky's the limit if they just continue to push those women.
and
So
she's like 21 or 22, right? It's like she's real
yeah,
young.
she's really young. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she's been trained by some superstar people. I mean, she's been trained by Mr. Kennedy. She's been trained by Cody Rhodes, by Dustin Reynolds. I mean, she's really, really been trained by some massive people in professional wrestling. So she's had all different types of training. Let's move on to what I personally thought was my least favorite match of the night, but I told you that I also felt this way about the No Mercy match. I'm not a big fan of fatal four-way tag matches, but I feel like you enjoyed this match, so why don't you talk about what you liked about it?
I didn't necessarily enjoy this because I think it was convoluted because when Phoenix got hurt, I think it threw everything kind of into flux, and I don't think the Bucks were supposed to win this originally. I think it was supposed to be the Lucha Bros.
That's interesting.
Although Phoenix came out today and said like he's going to defend his title, he's not going to give it up, blah blah blah. But I think we could easily see him losing it, ironically, to one of the Bucks this week.
Well, I guess we'll see. This is the new era. That's what they're showcasing. That's what they're all about. It's the new era of AEW. I don't know what that means, but I guess we'll find out on Wednesday night. Yeah, this match to me, I just felt like was just there. I really was hoping that because out of all the stars in this match, the only team that needs help getting made is the Guns. And I thought that this was a great opportunity for everybody to help push the Guns to make them look really good. They didn't need to win, but they could have gotten a lot of offense. They could have had a massive stories in the match. And I just thought, why, what was the purpose of having such a young team in there if you weren't going to like really showcase them? They were given about 12 and a half minutes. I mean, they were given plenty of time.
Yeah, I think a lot of what they use the tag team division for is they're just looking for that classic match or whatever. They're not necessarily looking for the story, because the right story would have been to have the Guns go over, but obviously they know that I mean the Bucks have had great matches with FTR in the past, or Aussie Open, whoever it was going to be. So I think that's what they went. They just went for the match.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you brought up like the injury with Rey Fenix and how the match just became convoluted, because now we're going to segue into what I thought was 1B, 1A, whatever you want to call it, for match of the night, which was Swerve Strickland versus Adam Hangman Page. I thought this match was amazing, man. Swerve, I've made this comment before. I'll say it again, and I'm going to continue to rock with this until somebody makes a t-shirt out of it. He is the modern day Chris Kanyon. His style in the ring is so innovative. We've never seen anything he's doing. Some of the moves he was doing during this match, I thought to myself, like, I've legit never seen anything like that. And he's so special. The reason I say it's a good segue is because Swerve, I feel like the reason he's in this spot is because of when Darby got injured at All In, and him and Sting were able to go out there and improv. I think the company just gained a massive amount of faith in him after that, and they were like, "All right, maybe we need to start putting like our backing behind this guy and push him up."
Between that and the Tanahashi match, where
absolutely, yeah, that spot there on the ring, that was perfect. I love that you brought that up. Yeah, anybody go back and watch that, you'll see a great moment where Tanahashi slips on the ropes, and Swerve could have just laid on the ground and oversold, but he didn't. He got back up. Tanahashi knocks him back off, and then Tanahashi, he hits his trademark splash. But it was a great moment by Swerve Strickland. I love the fact that they played into the hand injury from an Adam Page stabbed him with a pen. I thought that was so great to just. I mean, it was just subtle. It was just subtle. Like everything Swerve did, Hangman just kept going back to the hand injury. What did you think of something so little, just like that great detail?
Yeah, that's obviously great that they because there's so often in wrestling that we just completely forget about stuff like that and just don't even work it. What I could do without is all the stabbing that seems to happen in AEW. Seems to be a lot of stabbing.
Yeah, we're on this podcast. Yeah, we're on this podcast talking about being true crime fans, and it looks like they're actually trying to, go back to like Carlos Colon, with all the stabbing. Ooh, hopefully we don't get sued for that comment there. Anyway,
Oh,
Yeah, I thought
shit.
this match was really good. You know, 20.
I missed that one.
Oh, okay. I thought this match was really good. They were given 20 minutes. It was phenomenal. We're just going to skip over the Ricky Starks match because I think it's just a way for AEW to get Ricky Starks on a pay-per-view. It was just 9 minutes of Ricky Starks offense, really. Let's jump right into. Yeah,
The highlight of that to me was John Moxley on commentary. It was a
we had
fun little 9 minutes, but yeah, Moxley was a star on commentary.
absolutely. So moving on to there, let's move on to the technical art piece that was given to us, like the moving art with Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. So it has been said before we give our opinion, I want to give you this so you can like lead into your opinion and maybe you could follow up with it. It has been said before that today's pro wrestling fan does not appreciate this style of professional wrestling. This isn't their cup of tea. So after watching this match and watching the crowd react to the way they did to the catch as catch can, the chain wrestling and the one movement into the other, what did you think personally of this match?
Yeah, I thought it was great. And it's not typically my cup of tea. I'll say it like this. I'm not a big fan of rap music in general, but like when it's done very well, I like it, and that's the same for this. I'm not a big fan of this type of style, but when it's done at this level, just spectacularly, I love it.
Yeah. What I loved about it is I remember being like a 17, 18-year-old kid being at Jersey All Pro Wrestling and walking up like in between matches, walking up to like the merch stands, like the merch tables. It was pretty much just a table that they were probably going to put someone through later on that night, but they would have their T-shirts on there for the workers that were in the back, like Trent Acid stuff or like Bryan Danielson stuff or low-key stuff. They would just have stuff there, but every now and then there would be this massive table of RF videos, and it would be VHS tapes of best of the NJPW, best of like the J Cup, best of William Regal, and that's exactly the VHS that I thought of. It was the best of William Regal. I thought this was the one time in a very long time for Bryan that I've seen him completely move away from Shawn Michaels training and to just show the world like, this is what I learned from Regal. This is what I learned from my time in Europe. This is the style that I prefer to do. And what I loved is that the story was furthered by Bryan needing to kind of stop the technical wrestling and had to go back to striking and he had to hit him with a running knee to finish the match. Because now when Zack Sabre cuts the promo after the match, saying that Bryan beat him, but he couldn't beat him the way that he was supposed to. He couldn't beat him by submission. It makes sense to me. And for Bryan to capitalize on that and cut his promo after the match and say that he came out of this match thinking that he was the best technical wrestler in the world, but he might not be. It might still be Zack Sabre Jr. because he gave credence into what Zack Sabre said, which was, I needed to stop technical wrestling and I needed to beat you a pro wrestling style. What'd you think of that story being told?
Yeah, that'll be great if they use it.
I don't think Bryan says anything. Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, Trent Acid. You're that dude. Acid drop, one of the best finishers ever in professional wrestling. Still hasn't been used. I don't know why nobody uses it. It's a sick-ass move. But in case you're wondering, I feel like I'm just going to go on a tangent. It's just a reverse Razor's Edge, and then he flips you over. Like he flips you completely over and then just sits out and pins you. But it's still awesome. Anyway, so I don't think Bryan uses anything like in a promo that he's not willing to use later on. And it's clear based on what they both said that we're moving to a rematch, either taking place in London or Japan, because that's where Sabre challenged him to.
So either Wrestle Kingdom or All Out next year, or All In next year.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's going to be like a year down the road.
Because Bryan's already said he's not going to do G1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said it would be irresponsible as a parent. Yeah. Yeah. We know that Bryan's made it very clear, his family first. That's where we're going. So we have to respect that. He's given us 20 plus years in the business. Now it's his time. So, you know.
Yeah, right. I think if there was going to be a year that he would have done it, it was this year. And then since he didn't, it's too late.
Yeah, I wonder if the forearm injury kind of stopped that. But
right, I think he'd already said he didn't think Tony was going to let him go do it. Mm-hmm. But then he got hurt anyway, so it didn't matter.
Agreed. So let's move on to what I meant. What I feel like I'm all by myself here, but I thought this match was mildly entertaining, which was Don Callis family versus the elite Golden Jets. I thought this match was kind
I
of
liked
good.
it.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
kind of good. I what I didn't appreciate about this match is it felt like it was two different stories fed into one. So it felt like Teddy Long booked this on an episode of SmackDown. We were getting Sammy Guevara versus Jericho, and then we were getting the other four working each other. And I was like, there's really no transition. No, like it was all about furthering the Sammy versus Jericho story instead of furthering the Takashita versus Kenny Omega. I was hoping that we would get more of that, and I really wonder. Do you think injuries are playing a part as to why we're not watching the version of Kota Ibushi that we're used to seeing? Because I have not been impressed with his AEW run. This is not the Kota Ibushi that I fell in love with during the Cruiserweight Classic or even before.
Yeah, I know he missed a lot of time. I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but I know he missed like a year, and I'm just wondering if it's just maybe he's just not the same. But also he's in tag matches. He's got to kind of try to mesh his style with other people. I'd be interested to see him in a singles match and see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was hoping that for the story might get further down the road as like we would see Takashita versus Ibushi, have him go over on Ibushi, and that's when Kenny Omega finally brings back the cleaner or some version of the American version of the cleaner and just kind of comes in and just finally takes out Takashita. Like, this is what I need to become to take you out, kind of like he did with Okada. But I think that would have been a star-making match for Takashita as well. So let's move into the tag match. This match right here, I think I talked about this with you. I'm kind of growing tired of the fact that FTR doesn't realize how good they are, and they feel like they need to continue to show us that. Like, just go out there and wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very strange to me. I wish somebody would just smack the both of them and be like, guys, you're right now the Usos aren't together, so you're the best tag team in the world. So stop trying to prove that you're the best tag team in the world. Just go out there and just help get over the people that are in the ring with you. What do you think?
what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like when you're at the tops of your division, when you're at the top of professional wrestling, right? Like right now, you would say that the tag team division in AEW is really important. They care about tag team wrestling in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So FTR is the tops, right? They're the top group.
Mm-hmm.
They're the top team. So when I watch their matches, I feel like they're always trying to convince us that they're that good instead of just being like that Triple H, like that heel Triple H, where it's like, I know I'm that good. You just need to watch me. You need to enjoy what I'm doing in the ring. I'm not doing this for you. You're getting pleasure out of watching me work. And I just wish I could see that out of FTR because I feel like they're just trying to showcase too much. They're trying to play to everybody else. They got over by being the Brainbusters, by not being the tag team that we all love. They got over by not doing tag moves, by screwing you over and not letting you get the hot tag. Like, that's the things that got them over. So why are they moving away from it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think they had a run on Collision earlier this summer that was spectacular. Is that what you're saying? You don't want to see those type of matches where like
No. I one of the people that I absolutely love when he talks about tag wrestling is Charlie Haas, and he talks about it all the time. Like, tag teams need to be different. That's what makes a good tag match. If everybody's going out there trying to do the same thing in a tag match, then there's nothing unique about it, and it's not worth watching, which is what WWE does with tag matches. Go out there, give us what we want you to give us. Here's the scripted match. Go out there and do this, and that's why their tag matches don't always come off as good.
right.
But AEW does a really good job of, like, go out there and be different. That's why originally FTR and the Young Bucks worked so well, because they are a completely different tag team, and they always did that different version. But I feel like Aussie Open and FTR are very similar. So it was kind of like,
I think there's just a lot of similarities between these two teams.
yeah.
Personally, I like Aussie Open better, but I don't know if they're going to get that run or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that FTR doesn't drop the titles to the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks already have championships. They don't need more.
Unless they're doing the bill collector thing.
Yeah, I suppose. And then hopefully, FTR can actually like stretch out their name and stop being FTR and they could just be what they are now, which is Fear the Revolver. And we can just kind of like, maybe they just kind of like.
That might not be the best idea right now.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, he was booked for it. So, I mean, super. Well, let's move on to the main event of the evening. I don't have a lot of good things to say about this main event because I feel like no matter how happy I was with Christian and his performance, which I really felt like he came out the star of this match, even at his old age, I felt like he was the star. He was my favorite part of this match before what happened after. I'm just not okay with Darby Allin's style. I don't feel like he cares enough about the business, and I feel like he's more so out there to shock and awe you. It's like watching the Hostel movie when they pull the eye out in that one scene. Like that's what it feels like watching Darby Allin right now. It feels like when they're showing us the stitching scene in the centipede. You know what I mean? Like,
stop! Why are you gonna do that?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Kevin Smith's movies Tusk when they turn Justin Long into a walrus. Like that's what I mean. Like that's what it's like watching Darby Allin, and it's not comfortable for me. I don't enjoy it.
We watched this together, and when he took that bump on the steps, you heard my reaction. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my stream was a little ahead of yours, and I remember being like, holy shit, why? And then you were like, what? He missed the steps. And I was like, oh, not yet. And you saw it, and you just like stopped talking and screamed into the phone, why would you do that? And I'm like, this makes zero sense to me. Look at this. Christian is the greatest Canadian wrestler, or the greatest wrestler to come out of Canada. Yeah, I love it. I love how From the Dungeon is just sticking to it.
He's not even the best wrestler in his own kayfabe family.
Well, let's segue into that. So after the match,
I wanted to talk about Darby for a second.
Oh yeah, you go ahead.
So the thing about Darby is, in general, you're right. He does do a lot of stuff that could be considered unsafe, is unsafe. But in general, much like a Mick Foley, he pretty much does it to himself. He's not doing it he's not putting other people in danger necessarily. So that's why I have less of a problem with it. I thought the match was entertaining, like a car, when you watch NASCAR and there's a huge crash, but everyone's okay. Kind of like that.
Okay.
Why does he always have to put his back? Like, man, he's not gonna be able to walk.
No, I can be very honest with you, and I think I said this because we were on the phone watching it from our two different locations together. If he doesn't take that bump poorly, and I mean poorly, is because I don't think he was supposed to land that way, but it actually saved him. If he doesn't take that bump on the steps the way he did, where he kind of lands on his shoulder first, he has potential to be like the next Darren Drozdov, because the back of his neck or his like spine would have hit the bridge of each step, and he would have really hurt himself. So I think in this point, him taking the bump the way he did, it actually benefited him, which wasn't great. But I understand what you're saying, but you've actually made this point on our podcast plenty times that when Mick Foley did that, it was at the point in his career because he couldn't go the other way, right? He had to do something different.
Well, I mean, he always wrestled a style that was a little not great for your body. When I say that, I'm talking about like hardcore stuff.
Yeah,
like
I understand.
Chairs and garbage cans and flaming baseball bats and barbed wire. As far as the taking risks and taking bumps, that but even he says now, like and to maybe Darby's credit, I don't know that you see him do stuff like that every week on TV, but like it's every pay-per-view now.
Yes.
And Mick's like he wished he'd save that stuff for pay-per-view, but like that's when pay-per-views were 4 times a year as well. Now it's every month, and just take a little better care of yourself. Like we like you, we want to see you around.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, let's move on to the aftermath of the match.
Did something happen after this match?
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden we saw Grindhouse, which was a movie by Quentin
Well,
Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
let's not
Well,
let's
go ahead.
not let's not gloss over the Nick Wayne heel turn.
I have no interest in talking about that. You can say whatever you want. I don't think that kid's prevalent enough to even give time to. So you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
I'll move on to Edge. I think
Okay,
that kid
I
might be
mean-
the most worst wrestler I've ever seen.
Okay, he's okay.
I just don't think that you don't take a character that's been on television for like 90 days and then switch his gimmick that quickly when we didn't have enough time to care about him. That's what I mean. I just don't care about you. There's no reason for
Okay,
me to.
see, we're
I care
supposed
more
to
about your
care.
mom.
Well, yeah.
I care way more about his mom. Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk
I
about
mean,
Mrs. Wayne.
Mrs. Wayne was Nikki's mom's got it going on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny. That's the song that was playing in my head at the time. Yeah, I really, yeah. I don't know. Maybe Christian's gonna push him, and he'll mean something. You know, with this whole like ENC action that we're gonna get here. But so we have this awesome video package on the screen, and then we have, you know, Alter Bridge play in AEW's arena. He kept the music, and now we have the Rated R Superstar because apparently they didn't care enough to copyright the Rated R Superstar in WWE, so they let him take it. And now he's the Rated R Superstar, Adam Copeland, in AEW. What did you think? What do you think? I mean,
All
you're the
right.
biggest edgehead I know.
So we're gonna do this from my perspective.
Go for it.
We're again, Lewis was a little ahead of me,
But I was very quiet.
and this Cabron, he says, "Oh man, yeah, I don't know why people are upset that Edge wasn't there. It was a great show, whatever, blah blah blah." He's completely making me feel like a complete idiot for thinking he's gonna be there, and I'm disappointed. And I'm watching the end of the show, and this thing comes out. And I'm like, who gives a shit? And I'm just mad. I'm just poopy pants. And then the lights go out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the car and it drives over the rated R on the road. And I'm just not okay. I'm just losing my mind. And then Alter Bridge hits. And he comes out and I'm like, oh, come on. Yes, let's just do it right. Let's just do it right this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we have a chance for it. We heard after. So he comes out, he betrays Nick Wayne, Christian, and Luchasaurus. He stands tall with Sting and Darby. Closes the pay-per-view. The crowd is rocking. We start the media scrum with Edge, and he gives us breaking news that no one expected, which is he's not signed on to be a part-timer. He's a full-time superstar. What do you think about that? He's 49, man. He's got Percy Jackson coming out in a little bit, and yet he's going to be full-time wrestler for AEW.
Well, they only work a few times a week. It's not like WWE where they're doing constant house shows. And as I mentioned to you, a lot of their shows are on the Eastern Seaboard, like a few-hour flight from his home. So he'll still get to spend a lot of time with his family, which I think was the most important thing. I love it. I can't wait to. I'm so excited for tomorrow night. I can't wait to hear him talk. Mm-hmm. I love the picture that Beth posted on X, where he went out to walk the dog, but like the letters from AEW are capitalized.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is pretty cool. It's just like guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool. He's definitely going to mean something to the brand. Reports are coming out everywhere that he wants to fill that CM Punk role in terms of helping young talent in the back, kind of do it at a higher level than CM Punk did. You know, obviously not bringing drama with it. So I think that's pretty good for the brand itself. He gave us a couple of. Go ahead.
As I've said to you before, I think like the difference with him and Punk is like when someone comes out like Jungle Boy or Jack Perry, whatever you want to call him, comes up and gets in his face, he's just gonna laugh. He's just like, this guy.
Yeah.
Like, look at this guy.
Mhm. I agree. Yeah, so I'm excited for the potential of this. I don't know if
I agree
yeah,
with
I
that.
think this is really great. This was a great moment. I'm so glad you brought this up, D, because yes, Edge did say that his daughters were like, Are you gonna go play with Uncle Jay? I thought that was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we're gonna jump into intermission right now. When we come back, we'll give our predictions and review Fastlane. So, Tyler, did you want to start with this day in pro wrestling history?
Yeah. So this day in pro wrestling history in 1991, WWE had that famous battle royal in Royal Albert Hall in England. Of course, won by the British Bulldog because he doesn't lose in England unless it's to Shawn Michaels who screws him over. So yeah, October 3rd, 1991. I believe it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's about I think that the video is about an hour long.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm always watching content. I really love pro wrestling content of any kind, so I'm always watching them. I love how YouTube has all of the biography episodes on there. It's amazing.
Speaking of pro wrestling content, guys, not to interrupt everything that we're doing here, but really, if you really want to have a fun watch, go back and watch the creative card that we did on Friday night.
Yeah,
it was so
absolutely.
much fun to do. We're really proud of it. We're trying to make this kind of our signature, so definitely go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely have the next couple mapped out. So go watch it. It's like watching it on Twitch. It's me and Tyler watching wrestling, giving you live reactions, and it definitely brought out the inner child in both of us. Like,
Yeah, so much
especially me.
so. Well, I don't know what was edited out.
Yeah,
I was gonna say so much so that I even took a nap.
yeah. I mean, it was great. All right, so my trivia question of the week: The Undertaker wrestled in a main event against Edge at WrestleMania. What number did this put the Undertaker at in terms of winning streak when he beat Edge?
16-0.
Yes, sir. Wow, you got that really fast. I thought for sure you would have guessed like something else. That's pretty
No,
good.
I either remember thinking it was like his perfect NFL season.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I still think Edge should have won.
Yep.
All right. So let me give you my match of the week, and then we'll close up intermission with Tyler giving us his promo of the week. So, match of the week recommendation, guys. It was on a September 24th edition of Thursday Night Sound, actually, and it was in 2002, and it was Edge versus Eddie Guerrero, and it was a
So
no
fucking
DQ
good.
match. Yeah, it was a no DQ match. This was also the match that ended the feud between the two, and honestly, the finish of the match has Edge beating Eddie with an educator on a ladder. It was phenomenal. Guys, go back and watch it. So good. You get to see prime Eddie. You get to see young Edge. He was only in WWE for 4 years at the time, and you can see how far he had come from the guy who came out of the stands.
Yeah,
Really
I
good
think like coming off of this, he was set to become what he eventually did.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the neck injury derailed him for about a year.
Yeah.
Shortly after this, because I think he was set to be on a rocket to the moon. Shortly from this point on.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
Tyler.
I love this match.
promo of
That
the week?
match. Yeah. All right. Bear with me for a second.
Yep, go for it.
More than anyone else in that ECW dressing room, Tommy Dreamer, maybe more than anyone else in the wrestling industry, you're willing to pay the price, to sweat, to bleed, to suffer. You're willing to bear that cross. And I say, Tommy, don't do it. Because in order to sacrifice and bear that cross for them, it means that I've got to suffer too. I'm telling you from a voice of experience, they're not worth it, Tommy. They're not worth it. You see, you got the choice, not me. I made my bed of nails, and now I've got no other choice but to be powerbombed on it. But you see, Tommy, the world is smiling at you. The wrestling business is smiling at you. And don't you frown back. I'm going to take you back to a very deciding point in my life. A time that I believed in something. A time that I thought my face and my name made a difference. Do you remember that night, Tommy Dreamer? Because it's embedded in my skull. It's embedded in my heart. It's embedded in every nightmare that I will ever have. As Terry Funk took a broken bottle, and began slicing and dicing Cactus Jack, the pain was so much that, I'll be honest with you, Tommy, the pain was so much that I wanted to say I quit. Terry Funk, I wave the flag. I'm a coward. Please don't cut me anymore. Then I saw my saving grace. You see, Tommy, I looked out into that audience, my adoring audience, and I saw two simple words that changed my life. Kane Dewey. Someone had taken the time and the effort and the thought to make a sign that said Kane Dewey. And I saw other people around as every moment in my life stopped and focused in on that sign. The pain that shot through my body became a distant memory, replaced by the pain embedded in my skull till my dying day. Kane Dewey? Kane Dewey? Dewey Foley is a 3-year-old little boy, you sick sons of bitches. You ripped out my heart. You took everything I believed in and you flushed it down the damn toilet. You flushed my heart. You flushed my soul. And now it sickens me to sit back and see other people making the same mistake. There's
Nice.
more, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah. Nice. I love promo of the week.
Yeah, and this is on YouTube, and he does such a better job than I could ever do. You need to really go watch it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can
absolutely.
write them. I can't deliver them.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Maybe we need to showcase some of those where we have Tyler actually read some of his promos on air. I think that'd be great for everybody.
Except for the people they're about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes those are the best ones. All right. So let's jump. We're done with the intermission now. Let's talk about Fastlane before we wrap things up here. So guys, Fastlane seems like it's coming this Saturday. It's not a particularly great card. It's only 5 matches so far, but let's run through the matches and see what we're looking forward to seeing out of all of them. Match number 1 seems to be the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending the Undisputed Tag Team Championships against the rare team of Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. What do you think about this?
I mean, I've no doubt it'll be a good match, but it's just another version of what we've seen for the past 6 months.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've no doubt that they'll have a good match, a fun match. I don't know that it'll live up to the payback match with Kevin and Sammy versus the two of them, but I mean, I don't think anyone was overly excited for that match, and it ended so.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm not. I guess this match is fine. It's the moment they booked it yesterday. I was like, oh my god, it's like whoever's in the back is just a massive fan of Teddy Long. Like every time you see people in the ring together, it's like, oh, 4 people in the ring, tag team match, baby. It's just like, all right.
Listen, so it's tag team match playa.
Yeah, playa. Yeah, that's right. All right, well, match number 2, it's the LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a 6-man tag.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Santos, Joaquin, and Rey Mysterio are going to do a really good job of working the Street Profits, and I like the addition of Bobby Lashley being able to kind of toss people around. I actually am looking forward to this match. I think it should be good.
Yeah, I think it should be fun. You know, a lot of times these pay-per-view or premium live events where they don't have a lot of hype and a lot of end up being really good.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so moving on to there, we have the triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Io Sky versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. I mean, I'm excited for this match. I think the 3 of them are going to tear the house down. I've seen another triple threat match with Io and Charlotte before. I believe it was Io, Charlotte, and Rhea in NXT.
Really
so, good. Yeah, I think Io is one of those people that's Charlotte proof. There's something about her. Charlotte just seems to really put her over. So I don't think we have the worry of Charlotte walking out as champion. And yeah, I think EO retains the title here because I think the whole point is to have damage control in a triple threat at WrestleMania. So EO's going to hold the title for a while.
If Charlotte wins, we riot. Well, I riot in my apartment living room, but regardless,
If Charlotte
there'll be
wins,
a
my
riot.
son is going to snap out. He's going to be going around chopping all his stuffed animals, yelling "woo" because that's one of his favorite wrestlers. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So moving on, we have this thrown together match. Sorry. John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline, which consists of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this match. I mean, I know everybody's excited that LA Knight is tagging with John Cena, but I don't know, man. It's not something that I'm looking forward to, but I think it'll be great for Cena to not have to work an entire match. He'll definitely get some rest points, so it could be good.
It seems to me like a 10-year-old was like playing with his wrestling figures and he just put them in a box and closed his eyes and pulled them out, and this is what they came up with.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have no issues with that.
I don't care about Cena. The two, like, this is like if it was the Backstreet Boys and they sent Howie and Brian.
Yeah.
From the Bloodline.
I don't really get that reference, but I understand.
Okay. It's JC and Joey Fatone from NSYNC.
All right, cool.
What, you don't have the boy band knowledge that I do? What is this?
No.
It's Scary and Sporty Spice.
Oh yeah, and I have that knowledge. Absolutely.
All right.
That goes back to the 7th grader right there.
That's
Anyway,
true.
all right, so let's move on to the main event of the evening, which I think is going to be amazing. Which is Seth friggin' Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Is this the main event, or is that stupid tag match going to be the main event?
I would really hope that the World Heavyweight Championship main event. It is Seth Rollins. He has a 4-month reign of excellence. Has literally not had one single bad match since he has been World Heavyweight Champion, or dating back to the tournament. He has just been on fire as of late,
or dating back to ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah.
He's just great.
And this version of Shinsuke Nakamura is phenomenal.
Is absolutely the best version, and that's saying something because this guy is just so talented.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I'm looking forward.
You want to see a good Kota Ibushi match? Go back and watch their match from, I think it's Wrestle Kingdom 9, maybe 10.
There you go.
But
I like that. Yeah, go back and watch that, guys. I mean, that about does it for us. We just wanted to go over some stuff like that with you, and we wanted to.
And Seth retains and Damian cashes in.
I mean, I would be a very happy person if that happened, but we'll see. I definitely do not want Nakamura to win, only to drop the title 30 seconds later.
No,
I do not want that to happen.
That would upset me.
Yeah, that would upset a lot of wrestling fans. But if that's the intention, then it worked. But yeah, guys, that about wraps it up for us. Thank you so much for joining us on Must Love Wrestling in our new digs. Once again, D, thank you so much for all of the upgrades and everything you've done for us. And we look forward to hearing from you and talking with you next week. And please go back and watch our Create a Card. I'm sure we'll come up with a better name for it if you guys want, but we really like it. I really like it personally. I think Create a Card is pretty cool. So probably wind up having to copyright that shit. But so if you want to help us get that extra $5,000 to copyright that, we'll open a Patreon.
There you go.
But yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, we're out.
Later.